How's it going, guys? MJ300 here, and welcome to a brand new episode of our Arsenal Road to Glory series. So we are now a good bit into season number 3 here with Arsenal, and things are still continuing to go pretty well. In the Premier League, we are currently in 4th position with 28 points, only 1 point behind the leaders Liverpool. In the Champions League, we're going very, very well. We've won all 4 games in our group, which means we're now guaranteed top spot when we go through to the last 16. We're also into the 5th round of the Carabao Cup, so things are looking pretty good. In terms of this video, what we'll be looking to do is get through the rest of 2021. So I'll just show you the games that are coming up here for us. So we've got a few Premier League games there: Brighton, Newcastle, Southampton, and a big one there at the end of the month against Liverpool. We've got another game against Zagreb in the Champions League. As I mentioned, we will rotate the squad for that. And then in December, we have a lot more Premier League games there: Palace, Burnley, and that double header there towards the end of the month against Spurs. Spurs on the 18th and on the 30th, so only 12 days apart for a head-to-head, so that's a really good way to end the year. We have Nottingham Forest in the next round of the Carabao Cup, and we'll obviously close out our group stage of the Champions League against Lyon. Obviously, just on the horizon as well will be January in the transfer window, so it's time to start thinking about whether or not we need to add anything to the squad. I'm pretty happy with what we've got here. Everyone is very highly rated. If you look at our first 11 and our second 11, there's only really one player there that stands out at the moment being lower rated than everyone else, and that is Demirel at 81. But he is still young, so I'm just going to add him into the training and try and get that up over the next couple of months. But for now, we're going to jump straight into this game here against Brighton, and we're going to rotate it around a little bit, give everyone else a game. So we're going to go with our second 11 here against Brighton, and we get the 4-0 win. Aubameyang, Lamar, Trincao and Torreira all on the score sheet, and the result was clearly never in doubt. So next up here, we have another Premier League tie. This time we return home to the Emirates against Newcastle. We'll have a quick look and see where they are in the table at the moment. They're not doing too bad. They're in 7th position. They've won 7, drawn 1, lost 4, so kind of sort of the best of the rest at the moment. So not necessarily going to be the easiest game, but obviously whenever we're at home, I expect this team to be getting the results. You can see they've lost a couple of games against City recently, and they lose to Arsenal as well. 3-0 to win. Pepe, Neves and Bellerin all on the score sheet, and another comfortable 3 points there for Arsenal. Okay, so in a case of deja vu here, we now have Lamar going down, being very unhappy again, wanting to leave because he's not playing enough games. We had this exact same situation last season, and then we played him in 3 or 4, started him 3 or 4 games, and then he was super happy again. So, I mean, if this is going to happen every season, maybe it's a player we're going to need to move on and bring in someone else to replace him. I mean, I do like him. I like using him, but we can't have unhappy players in the squad. It's not going to be good for the rest of us. So he's going to play a couple of games here anyway, look, up against the Champions League. We're going to rotate it around, give everyone a game. But yeah, that's something I'm going to start thinking about now as we get towards January. It might be best to move on from Thomas Lamar. Okay, so here we are now up to the game against Zagreb. And as I mentioned, we will be rotating. This is the team we're going to go with today. We're going to go with Perrin in goal, Gaia, Demirel holding, and Klosterman at the back. Barella, Willock, Trincao, Smith-Rowe, and Lamar midfield, and Martinelli up top. Like I said, looking at our group there, it doesn't matter what the results are. Even if we lose our next 2 games, we're guaranteed top spot. So it's just a good time to give everyone minutes, make sure everyone in the squad stays happy. I'd still hope to win though at home, and we do. Saka and Willock, the young Gooners, on the score sheet for Arsenal. And it was a nervous last 5 minutes when Zagreb pulled one back, but we held on for the win, and that's 5 wins out of 5 in the Champions League. Okay, so here we go, guys. I think this is it. We've just had a transfer offer come in from Barcelona for Thomas Lamar, and not only that, for £81.7 million. I think, to be honest, if he's unhappy for that amount of money, we've got to accept it. We'll find someone else to replace him in January for that amount of money. It happened last year. It's happened again this year. So I think realistically, it's something we've got to do. Looking at the screen there, it does say we could even get upwards of 115. That seems a bit excessive, but I will go in here to negotiate just to see if I can squeeze a little bit more money out of Barcelona. But I think it is time to say goodbye to Thomas Lamar and thank you, and we'll move on to someone better in January. Okay, so there we go. We asked for 87 million, which is 1 million for every overall that he has. Barcelona are happy to pay that, so it looks like as long as they can agree terms, Lamar will be heading to the new camp in January. Okay, so here we go. It looks like obviously teams have got wind that he is unhappy. We've now had Juventus come in offering similar sort of terms, so I'll go back out to them, see if they will also accept the 87 million, and if so, Lamar will have his choice of where to go. Okay, and Juventus have accepted. I actually squeezed an extra million out of them, 88. So with 2 deals accepted, it looks certain now that Lamar will be going. Okay, so now we're up to Back to the Premier League action now, and we have an away tie here against Southampton. From memory, last time out, they were not doing quite so well in the table. They were near the bottom 3. How are they faring now? They've moved out of the relegation zone, but still not been a good season for Southampton. Only the 3 wins, 10 losses, 9 points. So definitely a game we should be looking to get a win, even going to St Mary's. And actually, even though they've looked at, they've won 2 of their last 3 for those 3 wins. They lose here today. Aubameyang on the score sheet, and it's 1-0 to Arsenal. Okay, so here we go now. We've got a huge game in the Premier League before we start worrying about who's going to be going out in January, and it is Arsenal against Liverpool. 3rd against 4th in the Premier League, at home at the Emirates. So you can see there, actually, Liverpool have fallen away a little bit from where we were at the start of the month. They were top of the table. They're now down in 4th. Spurs leading the way on 38. City and Arsenal both on 37 and Liverpool on 35. So another really big game. Hopefully we can fare better than we did when we had our last big game against United and go into this game and get ourselves a vital 3 points. Okay, so just very quickly before we jump into this, figures show you the Liverpool team we're going up against. And it is Alisson in goal, Milner, Alderweireld, Van Dijk and Alexander-Arnold at the back. Partey, who we knew they brought in the summer, is at the anchor of that midfield with Henderson and Keita just ahead of him. Mane, Firmino and Salah still continue up top. So only a couple of additions, but obviously Liverpool were already a very good team. We're going to jump into this now and see if we can come out victorious. And here come Liverpool now. They've got some space in behind Bellerin. And cross comes in towards the back post, but Leno's there. It's gone back to Ceballos. Into Neves. In Jovic. Gets away from his man. Hits one. And it's wide. Here is Jovic. It's gone back out to Tierney. Tierney's in behind Alexander-Arnold. Can he find Pepe at the back post? He can! And Arsenal lead after 16 minutes. Great run down that left-hand side, Kieran Tierney. And what a cross it was. Pepe had got in behind his man. And it was a simple tap-in. What a great start this has been from Arsenal. Tierney, like I said, in behind Arnold. And at that point, he just had to roll it across. And Pepe fires past Alisson. It's 1-0. Out wide to Pepe. Brandt. There's a 1-2 here with Pepe. Pepe's got some space. Can he find Jovic in the middle? He can. Can Jovic finish? What a challenge from Alderweireld. And Saka now. He's found Jovic. Can Jovic find Pepe? He can. Can Pepe finish? Oh, what a chance. What a chance for Arsenal. And Pepe should really be doing better from there. The pass was slightly under hit, which meant he had to hit it early, but he should be finishing from there. Here is Saka now, into Jovic. He's laid it off here to Brandt. Can Brandt finish? Oh, he can't quite get it above Alisson. Goes out wide to Pepe. Pepe cuts inside. Can he bend one? It's well saved by Alisson. And there goes the half-time whistle. Arsenal go into the break with a 1-0 lead. It's only a slender lead. They had some really good chances to extend that, but either some poor finishing or some good saves by Alisson denied them. And against a side like Liverpool, that always makes me nervous. Want to try and turn our dominance into a second goal early in the second half and really kill this game off. Here is Ceballos. It's a ball over the top here for Tierney. Can he keep it in? He can. Can he now pick out the right pass? Finds Saka! Oh, and he's dragged it wide. When he took it past the first defender, all he had to do was be a bit composed, and that would have been a second. And here come Liverpool now with Rakitic. He's had a go. Oh, he's hit the bar. Leno was rooted. And the rebound's away. Inside to Firmino. Up against Kimpembe. Slots it into Keita. Firmino! Oh, it's a great save by Leno. Liverpool so close twice there to getting back into this game. Neves out wide to Bellerin. First time for Pepe. He's got loads of space. Oh, he should have cut it across. Brandt was waiting to tap it into an empty net. But instead, Pepe went for goal. Can't believe he was onside there. Great save, Alisson. Okay, last 15 minutes here, making a few changes. Brandt, Jovic, Saka all going off. Barella, Aubameyang and Martinelli coming on. Here is Ceballos. He's laid it into Martinelli. Good save, Alisson. Here is Pepe now. Arsenal on the counter. He's in behind that back four. Can he finish this time? Oh, and it's off the line from Arnold. And Arsenal hold on for the 1-0 victory. There was a couple of nervy moments there when Rakitic hit the bar and Firmino forced a good save from Leno, but Arsenal were always the better team. It should have been more than one. We were not as clinical as we have been in this game, but it doesn't matter. Pepe was the difference today between the two teams, and Arsenal pick up another 3 points. Okay, so here we go. The confirmation has come through. Lamar has picked Barcelona. He will be joining them in January for £87 million, which gives us an extra 77.5 to add to our transfer budget. So not going to worry about it just yet. We're going to get through these games in December. But Thomas Lamar, thank you for your service. We're away to Palace, so rotate it round. And we do. We win 2-1. Torreira, Aubameyang on the score sheet. Soloff for Palace, who actually took the lead after 19 minutes, but we came from behind, got ourselves another 3 points. Okay, so here we go. The final game of the group stages of the Champions League, and we are up against Lyon, who are currently sitting in second place. So obviously they're going to be going all out to get the win to try and qualify ahead of Ajax, who are most likely to beat Zagreb in their final game. We are going to rotate as we have done. This is the team we're going with today. We're going to go with Perrin in goal, Tierney, Ake, Demir and Klosterman at the back, Martinelli, Willock, Smith Rowe, Neves and Nelson in the midfield, and then Nketiah up top. So again, giving everyone some minutes in the Champions League, seeing as we are already guaranteed top spot. And let's see how they get on here. And we lose 1-0. Porto with the early goal for Lyon, and we can't find a response to that. As I mentioned, it doesn't matter. We're guaranteed first spot anyway, so we are through to the knockout stages of the Champions League. Okay, so now back into the Premier League and a home tie here against Burnley. We'll have a quick look and see how they're getting on in the table as we're approaching the halfway of the season, and they are in 9th. So they're not doing too badly with 8 wins, 2 draws, 6 losses on 26 points. So obviously having a chase down for that final Europa League spot, which which Chelsea currently occupy with 31 points. We'll revert back to our strongest team for this game, a home tie against Burnley. I always expect us to win at home. Do we continue that? And we do. We win 4-0. Brandt with 2, Pepe with 2, and Arsenal with a 4-0 win. Okay, so here we are now. We are up to the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup. Now, for those of you that have been following since day number 1, we have been knocked out in the quarter-finals in both of the last 2 seasons of the Carabao Cup. We're hoping we can go one stage further this year. Luckily, got a favourable draw against lower league opposition. The last couple of years, I think we've had like Liverpool and Manchester United, so definitely an easier tie. This is the team we're going to go with. We're going to go with Perrin in goal, Gaia, Ake, Demir, Klosterman at the back, Willock, Barella, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Trincao midfield, and Nketiah up top. So hopefully these guys are strong enough to get it done. And can we actually finally make the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup? We can. We win 3-1. Nketiah opens the scoring. Figueiredo gets one back for Nottingham Forest, but then Martinelli scores on the stroke of half-time and then in the second half to secure the win for Arsenal. We now have to focus on our double-header in the North London derby coming up. First up, we're going away to Spurs, and you can see there in the Premier League it is very tight at the top. We are on 46 points with Man City. Spurs just 2 further back on 44. So this is an absolutely huge game, a must-win in order for us to keep pace with City and also put a little bit of space between us and Spurs. And also just because it's a North London derby, of course we want to win it. So there's the team we're going with, strongest 11. Let's jump into this here and see if we can beat our rivals once again. Saka finds Pepe on the through ball. And Arsenal are just inches away from scoring inside the first 5 minutes. What a pass from Saka. And Pepe went for placement, but it was too close to Luis. Jovic holds it up here. Now there's Pepe. Back to Jovic. Can he finish? Oh, saved by Luis, and the rebound just falls back to him. And there goes the half-time whistle. A really poor first half. I have to admit, I've just been absolutely terrible. Unable to put passes together in their final third. And it's been a very boring spectacle at the moment. No real chances of note. Just that one at the very start from Pepe when he really should have done better. We go in at the break 0-0. Need to be much better in this second 45. Here come Arsenal now with Jovic. Can he put it over the top to Saka? Is Saka in behind Aarons? Have to hold it up here. Oh, he's been absolutely taken out. That's got to be a booking for Aarons. I don't know why he's surprised. It's a yellow card all day. Arsenal being caught a little bit upfield. And it's still with Dele Alli. And the cross has fallen to Kane. Oh, Leno just about keeps it level. Here comes Spurs now. Ali's got to be offside, surely. Leno out superbly well. Got to do something to try and change our fortunes because I've been terrible. So we're going to bring on Martinelli, Aubameyang and Barella. Ceballos. Barella. It's gone out wide to Martinelli. Can Martinelli find Brandt on the edge of the area? Oh, and he can't. Tierney. Up to Martinelli. It's up to Barella. Can he do something here? It's Arsenal's last chance. Barella into Martinelli. Oh, and it's wide. And what a perfect ending to an absolutely terrible game. I honestly think that is the worst game of FIFA I've played in this entire career mode. I don't think I had anything after that first 3 minutes from Pepe. Just couldn't get any passes together. Kept giving it away cheaply. And unfortunately, we dropped points against our rivals as well. It's the worst game to do it in. Let's have a quick look at the stats. I'm sure barely troubled Luis after that first effort early on. Yeah, 1 shot on target and only 5 in total. I mean, like, when did you remember the last time I did that? It was really, really poor. Had a chance to win it at the death there of Martinelli, but of course, we put it wide. Okay, so the best thing you can do after a performance like that is bounce back straight away with a win. We've got the perfect chance here to do it at home against Bournemouth. Everyone's fitness levels are still pretty good, so we're going to go with that same team and give them a chance to redeem themselves here. Can they get it done? They can. They win 3-0. Jovic with the hat-trick. And that is a great response. We pick up 3 points and we go again. So the game's coming thick and fast now over the Christmas period window. Next up is another home tie against a London team in the form of West Ham. So with the Spurs game only a couple of days away, I figured for this we will rotate it, keep the players as fresh as possible over the Christmas period. So we're jumping to this tie here against West Ham. There's the team we're going with. The one change, taking Lamar out, obviously because he's about to leave. Ceballos stays in. And we draw 1-1. It doesn't pay off. Ex-Gooner Jack Wilshere opens the scoring. Martinelli for Arsenal, who also have Klosterman sent off in the same minute as they scored, which is quite interesting. But with 10 men, we hold on. So here we go now, the second of our double headers here against Spurs, this time back at the Emirates. And after dropping those points against them and also against West Ham, you can see we've fallen 4 points behind Manchester City. So it is now absolutely vital that we go into this game and get ourselves the 3 points. Back at home, I would hope, well, we can't perform any worse than the last time, but I would really hope that we perform much, much better. We're going to go with the same team as we did against Spurs last time out and hopefully put in a better performance. Out wide to Saka. He'll look to get the cross in. It's gone towards Jovic in the middle. Oh, but Brandt's jumped up ahead of him. Jovic was waiting. And Brandt heads wide. Neves. It's gone out wide to Saka. Jovic is arriving at the back post. Lloris gets a hand on it. And then collects. Neves. Into Jovic. Back to Neves. Oh, and it's saved by Lloris. Here is Son. Oh, there's people in the middle here for Spurs. But Saliba gets back. Goes out wide to Saka. He's got Tierney on the overlap. So much space now here for Kieran Tierney. He's just got to pick the right pass. Oh, and he's overhit it a little bit. Jovic is there. Back to Pepe. And Saka. And right on the stroke of half-time, Arsenal finally break the deadlock against the Spurs team. After almost 135 minutes of football, we finally have a goal. It's really well played back there from Jovic. Pepe should have scored. What a block on the line that is. Not sure who does that, but amazing block. But luckily it fell to Saka. And we finally have the lead, 1-0. And there is the half-time whistle. That was pretty much the last action of the first half. And it was absolutely vital that we go in at the break 1-0 ahead. You know that we play our best football on the counter-attack. And now that we have that lead, Spurs will start to leave spaces in behind. And hopefully we can exploit that and secure ourselves that all-important second goal. Here is Kane. It's Dele Alli. Hits one on the turn, but it's easy for Leno. Here is Ceballos. Space here for Saka. It's Pepe. And Jovic looks to hit one, but it's wide. Trincao. Into Barella. And he slipped through Pepe. It's got to finish, surely. Oh, and it's so poor. The first touch was heavy. And there it is. They get it away, and that is the full-time whistle. And Arsenal hang on for a 1-0 win. Definitely struggling for goals in this video, but we've managed to get ourselves another 3 points here. Should have been more, but in the North London derby, all it matters is that we get the 3 points. Okay, so there we go now. We are up to January, and as tradition dictates, that means the third round of the FA Cup is about to take place, and we have been drawn away to Peterborough. It also means that the January transfer window is open, and Thomas Lemar has now left to go to Barcelona for 75 or for 87 million pounds, which gives us an extra 75 million in our budget. And you can see there, that means we now have over 100 million pounds to spend. So we can pretty much go and buy anyone in the world we want with that amount of money. So I have listed a couple of players here who I think may be possible alternatives. So we've got Christopher Nkunku here, Jack Grealish, James Maddison, and Memphis Depay. So they all offer very different abilities. So in terms of how much each of them would cost, it looks like Nkunku would possibly has a release clause there, 35 million. So he is definitely the cheapest option. Jack Grealish, we could also probably pick up for around 30 odd million pounds. And then the more expensive options, Maddison is going to cost probably nearer 60 million, and Depay cost about 50 million. So in terms of the players that I want to sign, I think we're obviously losing Thomas Lemar, who is an 87, and we want to replace him with someone of a similar ability. And out of these two here, I think Nkunku is probably the worst at the number 10, that is. I mean, he'd be good as a central midfielder, but we are looking for a more attacking number 10 because we've got people like Barella and Ceballos who can move forward if necessary anyway, so we're going to remove him. And then we've got Jack Grealish, James Maddison, and Memphis Depay. So Memphis Depay is definitely more attacking, but he hasn't got that ability to pick a pass the same way Grealish and Maddison has. So what I think we'll do is we'll leave that video there. We'll have a think about which of these players we're going to look to sign, and then we'll do that right at the start of the next video. So make sure you come back to that to see who we go with. If you've got any suggestions about which of the three we should look to add, please let me know in the comments down below. And the only other thing I've also been thinking about is we've gone half a season now, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I haven't really got to grips with using Jovic. Now, if I just show you what we mean as well, it's not also just me, but it's a simulation engine as well. So if I show you what you mean here, look, we've only scored 44 goals in 21 games. Now, that is still 2 goals a game, which isn't too bad. But if you compare that to the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City, they're scoring 2.5 goals a game, or in City's case, almost 3, which is crazy. It's just a lot less goals than the other teams around us, and therefore I think that's come down to the fact that we're not playing Aubameyang as much. If we look at the top goal scoring chart again as well, you'll see that there is no sign of Jovic up there. Aubameyang is actually our top goal scorer with 8 in the Premier League, and that's in 15 games, and a lot of those will have been off the bench. And then down the bottom there, we've got Brandt, who scored 7 and 14. So Luka Jovic, what we've brought him in for, just doesn't seem to be getting the job done, and therefore I'm kind of thinking that we may need to make a decision and actually go for someone else. He has the stats. I mean, he has the stats. I mean, if you look at that there, he's got finishing of 93, his long shots at 84, his shot power is 87, he has an attacking position of 90, but for one reason or another, I don't know, he's strong. Look at that, 87 strength, and he's quick enough as well, 86 sprint speed, 81 acceleration. You know, he's not Aubameyang quick, but he's still pretty quick. But yeah, I don't quite understand that. I don't know if it's his composure, because that's a little bit low, or, you know, his dribbling's only 84, which is a little bit low as well. I don't know what it is, but he's just not scoring the goals for me at the moment. Now, I think it'd be a bit premature to sell him in January and replace him, so maybe we give him till the end of the season. It is just something to kind of keep in mind about what we do in the future. There are obviously other options out there that we could look to bring in. Maybe someone like a Timo Werner or someone. He's got the similar sort of finishing, but he's got the pace to go with it as well, and his dribbling and ball control is much better. So maybe we need that player that's a little bit more agile than Jovic, who's more of a traditional number 9. But let me know if you've got any comments about that. We'll obviously be back very shortly for the next video, where we'll get into the FA Cup. We'll complete the January transfer window. We'll have the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup to come up as well. So plenty of games, plenty of stuff to look forward to. Make sure you come and check that out. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. But for now, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will see you all next time.